Hi, and good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Mark Waller, and welcome to Mastering Thought. And tonight we have a special guest. It's Simon. And Simon, where? Tell us where you're located. And
Los Angeles, California.
are you in the Glendale area?
No, I'm in Panorama City now, in Van Nuys, like that area in the San Fernando Valley.
Okay, so how do you don't have to say your last name if you don't want to, but if you do, I want to know how to pronounce it.
Uh, we could just say Gambarian or Gambarian.
Is it Armenian?
It is, yeah,
Okay, that's why I asked about Glendale. So
yeah,
there's
yeah.
great. Well, welcome. The reason Simon's here is he's asked the last 2 weeks some of the best questions that we've ever had on the channel. We're gonna have him ask more questions, and of course, along with me is Vanessa Marino, who is the peer mentor of our online community, Thought Masters. And welcome, Jane. There's Jane. Jane says hello. Mark's videos are exquisite. Oh my God, thank you so much. Uh, However, I'm on a totally different time zone, so I will be able to listen to the live chat afterwards. Okay, Jane. Well, thanks for checking in. That's great. And so so Simon, just tell us how you discovered Thought Masters.
I was just poking the box, looking for ways to either alleviate some of these like frantic thoughts, or I'm all over the internet searching for solutions. Um,
Okay.
Dualistic thinking and awakening, and I just keep getting like little bits and pieces of this entire thing, but I still can't grasp it. Like all I have is this like petty tyrant that's stuck in my head. But it's like a silent suffering. So I'm trying to alleviate this, and awakening
Okay.
seems to be the way to do it. But I just can't hold it down. I can't pin it down about how that's going
Oh,
to happen.
hopefully tonight we'll be able to help you do that. Um,
Let's see.
so, what are some of the other teachers or other resources you've been looking at?
Man, the books on like awakening. There's these podcasters and the Audia Shanti, I think this way his name is pronounced.
Yeah.
Just
Uh,
anything I can find. I think I have like a little bit of all
okay.
that somewhere in my head about these paradoxes, how it is and how it's not, and then just all these Buddhist or Taoism teachings. Just I have
Got
like
it.
so many notes in my head. I don't know what to do with them.
Okay. Well, maybe we can settle some of that tonight. Um,
Yeah.
and Vanessa, do you have anything you want to say as we start out here tonight at all?
Not really. I mean, I'm kind of here for the show. I'm excited to see what Simon is going to contribute today.
Okay. Well, I
I'm your
got
test
to.
subject. This is like all for science. I'm just here for science.
Okay. Well, before we get into your question, it just occurred to me I might explain to you how I got into this, and that might be helpful. Um, because I've read all the books and studied all the teachers just as you're in the process of doing. About 40 years ago, I had a mystical awakening experience, and I just want to reach for a book here off camera. And it took me about 2 years to begin to find out what happened to me. And I ran across this book. Is that reversed?
Yeah.
Okay. It's called I Am That by
I am the
Nisargadatta Maharaj. And as I read that book, it started to dawn on me what had happened to me. And so I believe, have had an advantage over other people who, kind of teach some of this stuff in that I've been a psychotherapist for 27 years.
hmm,
And also, I come from a technical background. And so
mhm.
when I put all this together, it kind of came together for me as very mechanistic in a way. And so I have a different way of kind of going about explaining this, and hopefully, people find it those that need to will find it more accessible, hopefully.
Okay.
And the first thing I realized when I experienced this awakening, and we might want to make a distinction sometime, is awakening as opposed to enlightenment, because I believe they're two steps in the same process. So one of the things I realized working with people as a therapist was they needed to watch their thoughts. That watching their thoughts was the key. And so I had some success and some failures. And along the way, I realized suddenly one day the problem was people didn't know what a thought was. And I know that sounds goofy, doesn't it?
From someone who's obsessed with thoughts, yeah, I can't even imagine, like how that could be.
So when... I love your
Same.
energy. So what I did, I suddenly dawned on me, they didn't know what a thought was. So when I started to explain to them what a thought was, the thought is the voice in your head that sounds like you talking to you. You'd be astonished as how many people have never made that connection.
Oh man,
And
yeah, I think we're way past that.
yeah, so when I started explaining that to them, and of course, this is the basis of my psychotherapy practice. I teach everybody how to watch their thoughts and how to deal with the voice in their head. Okay, so that's a little introduction. I've been a psychotherapist for 27 years.
Nice.
All right, so can we get to the question that you asked? And you can maybe explain it. Huh?
Do you have the question? I think I posted
I've got
a few.
it up. I'm going to bring it up on the screen.
Okay.
And where is it? Here it is. Okay, this was the question you asked, Simon. Is awakening basically learning to stop responding to intrusive or critical thoughts so the mind doesn't keep itself alive by arguing, fixing, or defending against them? I just thought that was a fantastic question. Do you want to expand on that at all?
Just how do we approach it? I don't understand how, these teachers, they say practice non-doing. And then I get lost in paradox about non-doing and then what I'm supposed to actively do.
Right.
I follow all those like watching principles. I have so many analogies about what it's like to, participate in this dualism, and I just get lost in the sauce.
Okay.
I've tried like art therapy and, like doodling out my thoughts to make distinctions.
Right.
And now I'm just lost in the sauce, but when it comes to like live interactions, it's like game time. I could immediately be the final chooser of how I respond and how I talk. So it's like this silent suffering that no one else is aware of.
Right. I think that describes everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so Vanessa, I don't want to exclude you here. If you have a comment, butt right in.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so let's go back. So there's some problems with this question that I want to point out. There's nothing wrong with the question, but there's some things that trip people up, and I want to explain what that is. So let's go back to the question. So first of all, awakening is not learning to stop responding to intrusive or critical thoughts. Now, why is that? I think this is what really one of the barriers that people have when they listen to teachers. I mean, one of my favorite teachers is Eckhart Tolle, and he spends a lot of time talking about how bad thoughts are. We think too much and blah, blah, blah. And then sometimes I get the feeling that I'm supposed to feel guilty because I'm thinking. And how do I stop that? What do I do about that? And so your question is a little deeper than that. It's how do I stop responding? And in what that implies, and maybe you didn't intend this in your question, but what it implies is there's a certain amount of willpower or discipline required to do that. Is that what was in your mind when you asked that question?
It's like, there are these, I guess, frameworks to like think about, yeah? So every
Yeah.
time I identify it with a framework, it becomes just another like pebble in the river of like the way it expands. Uh,
Mm.
Instead of, I guess, trying to avoid all that, like avoid the mind games. So
Okay. So let's go on here. There's a couple things. So I want to talk about stopping responding. That's one of the things you said. And then the other, so it says, so the mind doesn't keep itself alive by arguing, fixing, or defending against them. So what this sounds like to me is that embedded in the question is this struggle. It feels like a struggle. Does it feel like a struggle?
to say the least, yeah, absolutely. It's
Okay.
like a tug of war, like a teeter totter, and it's so
Okay.
petty. It's like if I think of black, I can immediately hear of white or not black. If something
Okay.
is, immediately it just goes through this like is and is not.
Okay. So let me give you another path. You know, you've looked at many, many paths. This is a different path about thoughts. And that is this
Yeah,
concept, right? Where is it? Here.
yeah,
Disidentification. Okay, so
yeah.
why does this answer the question and solve the problem? So if
Why?
the problem with thought is we identify the voice in our head to be ourselves.
I'm not biting that. Like I hear it, I understand it intellectually, but let's say if I'm reading a note
Uh-huh.
silently to myself, I'm using the tool of my own thought, right?
Oh, you're making a very good point. Right. So what we're talking about verbal thought, but we're not talking about intentional thoughts. We're talking about the
You mean like
unintentional thought.
the unintentional harassment, mockery, condescending voice
Oh,
that comes back?
that's right. That's right.
That one.
So let's put it this way. Let's say you invited me over to your house for dinner.
Yeah.
And I'm on my way, I'm driving in the car and I'm trying to remember the directions you gave me. And so I'm thinking, okay, I got to go right on Elm Street and left on Main Street. And then I turn left on Oak Street. And what I'm doing is I'm using the voice in my head to reinforce my short-term memory. And I'm intentionally repeating the directions so I don't forget them, so I know what they are. And
Yeah.
then I think, when I get there, he'll probably serve something that I can't eat and it'll be a miserable evening. Okay, so in the beginning, I was using the voice in my head as a tool. At the end, the voice in my head was using me. Okay, why is the voice in your head able to use you? Because we think it's me. So
So
the
the part
voice,
that gets defensive, you think I should drop the part that gets defensive?
no, you're making,
Or
you're
the part
drawing,
that,
no, wait a minute. See, you're drawing a conclusion that you need to do something.
yeah.
There's nothing to do. This is a matter of understanding. So if the voice, let me give you another example. So years ago, I'm driving along the road, and off in the distance, I see this guy. He's walking toward. And by the way, if you're listening to this, feel free to leave a comment, and we'll respond to your comments because this is a very important discussion. Anyway, I'm driving along. Off in the distance, I
Mhm.
see this guy. He's walking toward me. He's only got one arm. I know I've told this story before. Vanessa's heard this, I believe. So this guy's walking. You've heard it 4 times.
Yeah.
I'm getting old. I keep repeating the same stories. So off in the distance, this guy's only got one arm, but he's wearing sneakers and shorts and a t-shirt, and it's early in the morning, and I think, oh my gosh, he's only got one arm, but he's out getting exercise. I mean, good for him. And I get a little closer, and I see that he has gray hair like me. And I think, oh, well, maybe he lost his arm in Vietnam. And that makes me feel enormous compassion for the guy. And here he is. He lost his arm in Vietnam. He's out in the morning getting exercise. Fabulous. And so I've got this whole story about the one-armed Vietnam vet in my head. And as I drive by, I look up in the rearview mirror. He's got 2 arms. He's just scratching his back.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the problem? The problem is I have this whole story going on in my head. Why do I have this story going on in my head? Because I believe the storyteller is who I am. And so the problem is not how do we stop the thinking or how do we stop responding to the thinking. The problem is why do we identify with the thinker to begin with?
So it's like reframing the way we think about thinking.
Right. Thinking is a function. It's not a person called me in the head.
So I had a question, Mark. So when you were sharing the example of like you're going over to Simon's house for dinner and just like the you're thinking about like the directions and whatnot. And then you had mentioned like, oh, it's going to be a miserable night. So those 2 different types of thinking, you did say that those are voices in our heads, but
It's the same voice.
same voice, but it's 2 different types of thinking. I was trying to
Yeah.
identify what you
One
meant
is
by that.
one was intentional and the other one was unintentional.
So intentional was the directions.
Yes.
Or intentional. Okay.
Okay, I have I'm a visual thinker. Here's how I would imagine you. Imagine you're driving a van, a white van, yeah? Like and you have you're in the driver's seat of this van. You have full like frontal lobe control, your thoughts, your directions. This is you in the driver's seat. Imagine you had like an observation window to the storage area in your van. Okay? And you just have like this array of characters, voices, annoyances, bothersome, just like a petty kid in there who's making remarks about your driving skills and you know what I mean? As you're focused on your drive to my house, you have this van full of just annoyances and bothersome viewing glass. When you talk back to them, you're just rallying them up. They just get worse.
That's right.
If you focus on your drive to my house, you'll make it to my house. You'll look like a calm, civilized person. But like, what do we do about this van full of like, a rowdy group of people that are bothering you on your drive?
Okay, but it's not a rowdy group of people. It's all representations of yourself.
Right. Illusions. Or,
That's
when
right.
you look back, there's no one in there, but it's like auditory hallucinations.
That's exactly what it is. And the only reason why it happens is because we have given it authority over us because we have assigned it an identity. And that identity we have assigned it is me. We have assigned that voice in our head, the identity. It's me in the head, so I need to pay attention to it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like you, the truck, you are one with your machine plus everything inside it. So it is me.
Well, actually,
making
no,
this
it's not. You're not actually in the driver's seat. You're the one in the back of the van, and all the other stuff is what's driving. And the illusion is that you're the driver. And
well, that's the way it feels, right? It's like I have hand-to-eye coordination,
but the only reason it feels that way is because we've identified ourselves as our mental activity. And what we're trying to do here,
how else to live life. I don't know, like how else do we live life without that association?
It's very easy. If you were born deaf from birth, you don't have a voice in your head. They live life just fine. So it's a complete illusion that we need an internal dialogue to live life. That's complete, utter nonsense. None of that is true.
Okay, let's say it isn't, but it's like some kind of like tool, right? Like if I'm reading a note silently or a book silently to myself, how do I not have a voice? It's almost you have to have an inner voice reading the sentence.
You have to have the inner voice. You have to have some instrument to convert those word symbols into something you can understand. But that, I'm telling you, that's intentional. What creates suffering is unintentional thinking.
Yeah, it just bubbles up. It just comes and goes,
Yeah,
and it's like it has its own
but listen to me
theater.
careful. Listen to me carefully. The reason it bubbles up is because you believe it's important. You believe it's you. And so the key to this is not to stop responding, it's to stop believing that voice is who you are.
It's like trying to convince a delusional person that he's delusional, and then the outcome will be that what? He's delusional. It's like
Yeah, but
if
but
it's
I
an
don't
auditory hallucination, what do we
I
do
don't
with
have
it?
I don't have to convince you of that. I just need to get you to do a little exercise and you will convince yourself. It
I
happens
hope so. I'm ready.
automatically.
Like that's why I'm here.
Okay. So let's do a little experiment.
Please.
So you have to be very calm now. You have to relax.
My nervous system might be stuck in this like flight mode. I don't know why. Maybe it's nervous system talking, like the body to the mind.
Well, this is we're so tuned into the drama we don't even know how to pay attention.
Yeah, yeah.
We're
Like
in bad shape.
overzealous, too much enthusiasm for
Right.
no particular reason. I just run this way.
That's right. So let's try this little experiment because this gets back to the brain thing you were talking about a minute ago, and I want to explain that. So
Yeah.
as you're sitting there, don't try to solve a problem or analyze anything. This is an abstract exercise. So just wait for the next thought to appear in your mind. It's going to be your own internal voice saying something like, I can hardly wait for this to be over so I can have dinner, or, I have to trim my hair on Saturday, or, what,
I don't have that problem.
whatever the thought is.
Whatever.
Okay. So what I'd like you to do then is as you begin to think, I want you to take a step back and observe the process of thinking itself.
Sure, I do that all the time.
Okay.
All the time.
What happened? No, wait a minute. What happens to the voice in your head when you try to observe a thought? Do it now. Don't tell me what your philosophy is.
Right. It's like a theater show. It just continues to run its theater. It's like
no.
That won't give up.
No, you're not doing the exercise. I want you to do the exercise. I don't want you to hear you analyze it. So just wait for the next thought and just very passively, without any intention whatsoever, notice that there is mental activity taking place. The instant that you notice that there's mental activity taking place, what happens to the voice in your head in that instant?
I'm just observing it.
What happens to the voice? I know what you're doing.
I mean, it's like observing.
No. What happens? As the voice in your head starts to speak, you take a step back and become the observer. And so the voice in your head says, I want pork chops for dinner. And you suddenly realize, oh, I'm experiencing a thought right now. What happens the moment you step back and observe the process of thinking itself without getting involved in the thought?
We just go to the next thing.
No. What happens to the thought before you go to the next thing?
Let's say there are like
wait a minute,
3
Simon,
words on a wall.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
In order to go to the next thing, what has to happen to the first thought?
Well, it's like we read words, like one word.
Answer my question. What happens?
It ends, and then we go to the next one.
It ends. Okay, try it again. Now wait for the next thought. In the instant you notice you're thinking, what happens to that thought?
It has to like arise and end, like words do.
That is exactly what's happening. So when you notice that you're thinking, that voice in your head immediately stops. Now, it may go on to a next thought. We don't care. That's not part of the exercise.
It's like if I'm at a train crossing and there is 100-row cargo trains, right? I see one train cargo. What happens to it? Well, it just leaves, and then we're on to the next one. What happens to that one? It comes and it goes.
Okay, but you're jumping
like in
ahead.
a
You're not
series.
you're not listening and you're not focusing on the exercise. You're making assumptions that aren't part of the exercise.
Help me out
Can you
here. What am I missing?
well you're jumping too fast to what you think this leads to instead of just listening to the simplicity of the exercise itself. So try this again.
Yeah.
Just wait. Just don't jump to the next thing. Just wait for the
Mhm.
next thought to appear in your mind. And the instant
Yeah.
you notice you're thinking, the instant you notice that you're thinking, what happens to the voice?
We're waiting for the next one.
What happens to the voice when
Well,
you
it came and went.
when you observe the voice in your head? What
Yeah.
happened to it?
It got its observation. Like it drew my attention to it
No.
until the next thing it draws my attention to.
Okay, but you see, you're not. I'm asking you a simple question, and you're so busy churning away inside you can't even answer the question. What happens to
Maybe.
the voice in your head? All you're doing is observing, you're not analyzing. The voice in your head speaks. When you notice it,
Yeah.
what happens to the voice? I don't care what happens next.
I don't know. It just got my attention. It just got my attention.
What happens to it? How does it change when it gets your attention?
I don't know if I have an answer. I don't have an
Could
answer.
you can you see my hand?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, you're observing my hand, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing to do other than observe my hand. Okay,
True.
now I want you to just observe your mental activity. There's nothing to do. There's no involvement here. The instant you
Yeah, but I
observe
do that all day.
you're cutting me off. You're telling me you already know. This is all your ego talking right now.
It could be. Yeah.
No, it is.
It is.
I do that all day.
All day, right? We're just
Yeah.
observing thoughts all day in silence. I
No,
could be working for hours and just observing thoughts all day.
no.
It comes, goes, tells stories.
So you're assuming that you know what I'm saying and making excuses for the fact that you don't understand.
That's the suffering. This is the world I live in.
Yeah, but this is the world you're choosing instead of just stopping and listening very carefully and trying to follow the instructions. You're
Man, I don't know
making a
why I don't
choice.
have an answer.
You see, you're even cutting me off. You don't even let me finish a sentence.
Okay, let's try again.
See what is going on with you? See, your ego is trying to prove a point here, and it's not letting you settle into anything simple here.
Yeah. Yeah, we always have to run. We're always running. Like
Yeah, yeah. So I'm asking you
if I
something very
don't,
simple.
yeah.
Can you notice the next thought without doing anything other than just observing it?
Sure.
Okay, in the instant you observe it, what happens to the voice?
I'm just waiting.
What happens to the voice when you observe it?
It's running the show.
Yeah,
Just
you're definitely
it's
running the show because you can't separate from a thought. That's why you're having so much struggle with all these things you're studying, is because you're busy thinking in the background the whole time, listening to your own internal dialogue instead of the teaching that you're reading out of a book, because you're constantly trying to interpret it through the filter that you have in your head, and it's not allowing you to settle into any concepts or anything that's beyond your own assumptions and anticipation.
yeah. Right.
And so I'm asking you a simple question. Is it possible for you to notice that you're thinking? I don't mean notice the content of your thoughts. See, have you had dinner yet today?
Not yet, no.
Notice your stomach and tell me if you're hungry.
I could be, yeah. I can go for coffee, sure.
Well, is that a yes or a no?
I overrode you again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you're busy. You're busy making a speech instead of answering a question.
True.
So, so, are you hungry? Observe your stomach and tell me if you're hungry.
No.
Okay. Now observe your mind and tell me if you're thinking. In the instant you observe whether you're thinking, what happens to the voice? You use the same facility.
I mean, it's still there. It's still my voice in there. Nothing. It's like I still got all my tools on guard.
So you've got all this stuff going on in your head, and you can't even
Yeah.
answer a simple question.
Like, I don't know what you're drawing me into. I just can't seem to park it there. You want me to park in this place?
This is the whole problem. See, your mind races off every single time, and you can't just, turn all that off and just observe your own mental activity without getting involved and turning it into a story and a drama.
Right. I don't know where to park it. If I just had a parking space, I could parallel park it. I could see it and hit, nail the parking spot.
Do you know
I don't
what
know
you're
how to
saying right
rest in
now?
my awareness. Huh?
What you're saying is you want something you can control. That's what you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want a parking space.
Yeah, to these thoughts.
God, Simon wants a parking space. Give it to him right now.
Yeah, I'm really good at driving. Like, I'll nail that parking spot.
Yeah.
Can I interject?
Go
Can I
ahead.
interject real quick? So, because you said you're a visual learner, as am I, maybe if you see it visually. So, I think the difficulty that you might be having, Simon, is so when, okay, so we're going to think about the next thought. My next thought is I would love to go play Donkey Kong right now. And so the moment that I notice that I'm having that thought, it's like there's like another part of me noticing that thought. The thought stops because I'm literally looking at myself having that thought. I'm not having any other thought but that. Like the moment that I'm thinking of myself wanting to go play Donkey Kong, the thought stops. I think what you've probably gotten into like, oh, but I'm observing it. Yes, you are observing it, but that thought itself stops. It literally stopped at, I want to go play Donkey Kong. I don't think of, oh, and then I want a piece of cake. Oh, and then I want this. Then I want, like, you literally just having that one thought. You're literally kind of watching yourself have that thought, and that voice stops because you're literally outside of yourself, kind of watching that thought happen. I don't know if that makes sense visually.
That makes perfect sense.
For Simon.
See, what do you think she
I
just
don't
said?
know why. I don't agree that it stops. It's like a chain reaction. It just keeps
Yeah, but
sparking other like mind maps.
Okay, but the definition of a chain is there's one chain and then another chain. Do you not
Yeah.
understand that thoughts happen one at a time? So you are assuming that the objective here is to make the chain of thoughts stop, and that is an incorrect assumption. That's not what this is about.
Okay.
This is about a single chain. Are you able to see a single chain, and what happens to the link when you see that? What happens to the link when you observe the link instead of the whole chain?
I can just stare at it.
That's what I'm asking you to do. What happens to the voice in your head when you simply stare at it?
Man. I don't have an answer.
Do you?
Like it just goes blank.
Perfect. That's exactly what's happening. That's the answer.
Yeah, I can exhaust it to death. I can exhaust it to death.
See, let me ask you a question.
I can exhaust ideas to death. Yeah.
Are you going to watch the Super Bowl on Sunday?
Sure.
Okay. When you're watching the Super Bowl, are you thinking? Because you can't do those two things at once. You can't focus and concentrate and think in your head at the same time.
I've noticed that. Yeah, I could be out cycling and I get into like a mode of just cycling, or if I'm consuming content, there's this part that switches off and it goes silent.
Yeah, and then that's exactly what we're trying to get to right now. That's exactly it. You just described it. So, what consuming content in this case is focusing on your mental activity. See, think of your mental
Yeah.
activity as the Super Bowl, and you're the observer, just like you would be at the Super Bowl. So, the instant
Yeah.
you become the observer of your mental activity, there are two networks in the brain that switch on and off. And I'll
Hmm.
let you go observe, I'll let you go research this. In order for you to consume content, you have to focus, don't you?
Yes.
You have to look at the content.
Yes.
So when you focus and concentrate, you turn on a network in the front of the brain called the task positive network.
Hmm.
Okay, when you stop focusing in content, there's another network in the brain called the default mode network that immediately turns on and starts talking.
Okay.
Okay, those two networks in the brain are negatively correlated. What it means is you can't focus and concentrate and pay attention and talk in your head at the same time. And you just admitted that, when you're focusing on your favorite TV show or something, there is no internal conversation going on. What we're doing is we're harnessing that to give you an awakening experience. Because you are
And
not the
also
thinker, you are the observer.
and also recognizing the fact that the exercise isn't meant to stop thoughts because thoughts will inevitably happen. Even
That's
with
right.
Mark having done this for millions of years, like he still has thoughts. It's just he's learned how to respond to them, or actually not even respond to them. He just responds to that act differently than we do. So he still has thoughts. I still have thoughts. So this
If
exercise,
you
so I hope you don't think that this exercise is to stop thoughts because I did. I'm like, well, I'm still having thoughts though. It just doesn't make sense. But it's not that. Like we're gonna still have thoughts. It's just learning to separate ourselves from the thought.
Oh man.
A
so
lot to
what
take in. It's okay.
is there anything new that you've thought about today? I was a little tough on you. Was that okay?
No,
A
it's
little.
fine. I just keep thinking of like a pendulum swing. If I maybe stop trying to get my way, then it won't have like a back swing at me. Like,
It'll
is
come
that
Right.
the
back.
switch you're talking about?
Well,
Like, if my
let's
attention is forcing it to be, hanging one way, as soon as we switch off, and then we get the other like default annoyance network on.
so the way the brain works is the network switches on and talks to us all the time.
Yeah.
And we believe that voice is who we are. And as long as we believe it's who we are, we're doomed never to wake up. It's not that we stop ourselves acting on the voice. We need to disidentify from the fact the voice is ourselves. The voice is not ourselves. It is only a thought.
How does that help the suffering of just
Because
being like in the line of sight of that, like not being exposed to that, like the Chinese torturing? It's like I'm getting
yeah,
one drop at a time is torture, and then
well,
it's like the noise is also torture.
if you knew the noise was bullshit, would you respond to it and suffer?
Like even if it is, then I have this like bullshit meter on all the time, all day, and I'm
That's what I'm
exposed
talking
to it. I
about.
just can't seem to get away from it.
That's what I'm telling you is that using this method,
Yeah,
that by separating from your thoughts and just observing them, you eventually
yeah.
realize that voice is not you, and the suffering ends because the suffering is all coming from the voice in your head, all of it. And it's coming from the
I
voice in
mean,
your
it
head
feels like,
because we believe that's who we are.
but isn't it feels worse that I believe that it's not me. So it's even worse that he's not like on my team. So it's like,
Oh, well, see, notice what you're just saying. Now your ego is struggling with survival. It knows that it's doomed, and it wants it to be on your team now. And so, yeah, your
Yeah,
ego
I want
just spoke
this
because
like assets. I want these voices to be assets, not
yeah,
liabilities and
that
annoyances.
that's the essence of what you're struggling with, because you want a loaf of bread, but you want to hang on to a rock, and so nobody can give you the bread as long as you're hanging on to the rock. And what you're hanging on to is the mystical truth that there's something really valuable going on in your head, and you need to keep that no matter what.
Yeah, I'm still digging for like intellectual property. I want my intellectual property to be
That's
like
right.
material for royalties. I want,
Yeah,
I want to cash in on these
yeah,
intellectual.
yeah.
I'm looking for a royalty check. I
You
can't wait to stumble upon something that it qualifies for like a U.S. Patent Office, trademark or something.
your ego wants its cake and eat it too.
All of that. Yeah, all of the
So,
above.
so this is a
So
threat to
when,
your ego. It's a threat to everybody's ego, because the voice in your head that's speaking is the ego. It's come from the default mode network. So what I would
man,
suggest you do is, if I could
yeah,
make a suggestion, would be to research the default mode network
yeah,
and the task positive network, and then just throughout the day, 3 or 4 times, just become aware that you're thinking random, trivial thoughts, not thoughts that trigger fight or flight. What you're talking about are all thoughts that trigger fight or flight.
yeah,
But you're thinking thoughts all day long that don't trigger fight or flight, like, I need to brush my teeth.
sure,
They're comments in your
sure,
head. So just get used to noticing that there are comments in your head,
yeah.
and
So
then come back to us and tell us when you've had the experience of stepping away from a thought and having that space to be the observer. When you've gotten to that point, let us know and we'll take the next step. Because right now you're just so involved with your own thinking, you can't let it go.
very involved. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm all in. I'm all in.
right.
Yeah,
So this is very interesting. This is, anybody who's listening, this is the process I go through for 27 years in therapy.
yeah,
I've met Simon 1,000 times. I know exactly what's going on here, and it's tragic, because if you listen to Simon in the beginning of this program, you realize he has this burning desire for something bigger, and you've watched the struggle. This is the struggle and Simon is an analyzer,
big time.
and he can't use that tool to awaken. Analysis will not help him awaken. And he wants to use, so if the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And so what the conversation has been tonight is, I've been saying, take a look at this, and he says it doesn't look like a nail, so I don't know what to do with it. And so the other thing I would recommend you do is just, say a silent little prayer saying, let me see this differently. There's something I'm not seeing, just let me see it differently. And if you feel that, Vanessa and I can help, again, we're here to help.
Okay.
Because you're struggling with your need to analyze everything, and you're deep, deep, deep into it.
Yeah, and I turn it into like doodles and art therapy, and I
Yeah,
just can't seem to attack it.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, I chase it. I'm on this like violent chase
yeah, it
with
is
it.
violent. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and this, as long as as long as that is more important to you than awakening, you're going to stay with that. And so this is a
man.
real confrontation for you. It's very difficult. And don't think I don't know it is. My heart
I
goes
think to
out to you.
myself like I'm like, what is it good for? What could it be good for? I think like if there is an emergency somewhere, I would be the first responder. Like
Right,
immediately, I have so much like savior juice or like testosterone or
right,
something built up. I'm always on the edge of my seat, ready to like react to that, just because of this hamster wheel
Right.
that is always alive, always alive.
What's it like for the people in your life to live with a hamster?
It just pushes them all away. Everyone, just get out of my way. You don't know what's happening next. I
Yeah.
got this. I got
Yeah.
this.
So,
Yeah, I take
someday you wake up and you look in the mirror and realize I don't have this, and whatever I'm doing, it ain't working.
man. Yeah. So like I don't stop. I just go faster. I need to cycle faster, drive
Yep.
faster. Just like
Yes.
get the concept faster. Okay, one concept to another. Forget grammar. I just need to jump from concept to concept.
Right. Right. Good. I think we've zeroed in on the issue here.
Thanks.
We didn't get any comments, so we have a lot of people listening, but no comments. I hope if you're listening, you had a good time listening to this interaction we had.
Man.
So stay in touch with us, will you?
I will. I'm not giving up. But maybe that's the problem. I'm still going.
Well, we won't give up on you, that's for sure.
Okay. All right. Let's see how this evolves. Let's see what comes back. Let it marinate.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being with us, and I hope I wasn't too tough on you. But this is me. This is what I do.
It's all good. I'm so open-minded. No, this is like a public Discord, like a public therapy session.
Except this is not therapy in any way, shape, or form.
Sure. Yeah.
Good.
Man.
This was fun. This was interesting. All right, you guys.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap it up, and stay tuned until next Thursday at 6:15, and we'll be back, and we'll be checking in with Simon. Somebody liked it. Kay liked it. Thank you, Kay. Appreciate it. All right. So we'll see everybody later. Thank you. Give us your comments.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.